Nobody's listening, right?
Hi, Andy.
Hey.
Is anyone listening?
Yeah, I'm looking right now and I see some brand new. There's one that just came in this today.
No.
Yeah. Fowler Fan 211. I'm listening. Love you guys. Welcome back. Then we got Rita G82. We're listening.
Interesting.
So happy y'all back. Also, period panties are lifesavers.
Yes.
But is that like... Is she saying, like, you should have been wearing period panties? Or did you, in your story, were you wearing period panties because they weren't lifesavers? You bled right through, right?
No, I was not. And
This is a tip?
This is a tip, and I will say, first of all, I feel like I did cover this. I don't remember what we've talked about and covered. My brain is like so
period
much.
panties in the equation. So I think this is a straight up tip for when you had your bloody blowout on set.
I know what it's. Please, I know what it's referencing. I do use Thinx. I really like these period panties.
What are they called?
Thinx.
Thinx?
Yep. And
explain the name, and if you don't know the origin, pretend you can get inside the minds of the people that created them. Thinx.
Well, it has a ring to it. It's THINX.
Oh, well, that was important. Thank you for clarifying that. Like Spanx.
Yeah.
Are they trying to hitch the wagon to that a little bit?
I don't think so. I think that it's just a name. You know, there is a whole science to company names and
wow.
people like and don't like. And I think that X does count towards something. Mm-hmm. It sounds like thanks.
Sounds like what?
Thanks.
Okay.
Which I like. And then also, it's kind of the premise is you don't have to think about it.
Did you just come up with that?
Yeah, yes. I mean, I don't know. It's very likely
Thanks.
they came up with it. But here's what I will say about Thinx.
Yep.
I do use them.
Explain what they are for those that don't understand.
They're underwear that has, it's a built-in period pad in the underwear. And you basically wear them and bleed into them. And then you rinse them out and you wring it out and you're like, oh my God, there's so much blood. And you keep rinsing and wringing and rinsing and wringing. And then you let them dry and then you wash them. So here's my thinking about it. It's better for the environment. It's wonderful for, like, I always think about women in third world countries who have to deal with their periods. Like, as much as I'm complaining about it, think about what they're going through. It would be, I hope that things like this exist for them.
Yeah.
But they are not fail-proof. And there are different flows and stuff, but where I'm at is I don't know what's a coming now. It's a total crapshoot. Whereas I used to have old reliable period. And I have bled through those at night.
Thinks.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm moving around and I don't know if maybe the ones I got are too big and they're shifting and moving. And then I don't know what's going on.
Now, an overnight pad, that's a product they make, right? Mm-hmm. Is that thicker or thinner than a regular pad?
Usually thicker.
I think
and longer.
I know what happened then. I don't think the Thinks are designed for overnights.
Okay,
I think you want to add a panty liner maybe to the Thinks before you go to sleep.
I just do want to tell our listeners how I'd say over the course of the last 2 years, have come to me with like these ideas for women specific products. Mm-hmm. And you sound so fucking stupid.
I don't think I sound...
I know you don't think that you do, but it's
I don't
like...
thinks that I do.
Okay. It's like you don't know anything about this and you're coming to this realm where it's a women's specific world and you're coming to me with these ideas like, I just thought of the most brilliant thing. And it's like, you don't think that there are thousands of people who have had the same brilliant idea, who know so much more about this, and what you just said is so indicative.
I'm not saying I'm like so bright having this idea. I'm saying there's a big chance that on the Thinks website, there is like a caveat that's like we recommend wearing like a panty liner for overnights.
This is why every woman hearing this is screaming right now. You sound.
I feel like you might be right. You're probably right. But I think there are a few that are nodding their heads with me like, that makes sense, probably. Like, because it isn't a big stretch of the imagination. I'll give you that. It's not a big idea I'm having. I'm saying what I think all the women are thinking is what I'm saying. Anyway, so go back to, you weren't wearing Thinks that day.
No, I want to go back to how dumb you sound about this.
Okay, sure.
And how you're not hearing me. And every time you come to me with one of these ideas, like you've fixed the problem.
I'm not fixing it.
You don't hear it. Mm-hmm. First of all, do you really think the people who created these period panties haven't thought about the 12 hours or 10 to 12 hours a day that people are laying around bleeding? Do you think that hasn't occurred to them?
Of course they've thought about that. I'm not saying that they haven't.
And this just goes to show how little you know about it. And yet you have this, it's something you have this confidence, and God bless you for having it, that straight white cis males, I think, have inherently that others don't. I'm painting with the wide brush, I know.
Okay.
That's like, I can't even explain it why you would think, when I'm sitting here telling you this is not how it works, and yet you still believe yourself. A panty liner.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing about a pad is there's the absorbent part on top.
Like a sponge.
And then the blood should not be getting through. The blood does not go through the pad. There's a plastic part on the bottom with the adhesive that sticks to your underwear.
Yeah. Oh, duh.
So, when you put a panty liner on top of period underwear,
okay,
it renders that whole part of the period underwear pointless because now there's a plastic sheet on top of the period underwear.
Shit. Hold on. let me explain. And so that I actually understand. So if you were wearing regular panties, you would never just wear a panty liner to sleep because they make more absorbent, bigger overnight pads, right? Because you need to absorb all that blood. So if you were wearing just a panty liner, even if it was in the Thinks, you would create a bigger problem than just wearing the Thinks probably, because it wouldn't absorb enough blood, and then it's going out the sides and stuff like that, and the Thinks aren't even doing their job.
Oh my God, I wish
I nail it?
I wish people could see how proud you are of yourself. Yeah. Okay. So this is basic, but I just want to point out this is like such a basic thing that you don't know about. And so I would urge you in the coming weeks, months, years, decades of your life, when you have an idea for a feminine specific product,
this wasn't a product, this was a hack.
Okay. Or a hack or whatever.
A life hack.
To not come at me with it with a confidence, an unearned confidence and assured, I don't know, that you know about this better than me or all of the people who work in this industry, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think, and I feel, it feels like a very loaded thing for you, which I'm getting, and I'm I'm mirroring that back to you. I feel that. But maybe, what if you could be open to the idea that I'm just like kind of like a dumb golden retriever trying to be helpful, and you can be like, oh, that's cute, but this is actually how it is, and I want you to learn this, and you're teaching me. Because instead, you're always just like, imagine if you had the golden retriever and you're teaching it how to like sit, and I wasn't sitting, and you were just like, you're so fucking dumb. Like, you're so dumb. You're such a dumb golden retriever. You have so much confidence because you know people like golden retrievers, but you're so dumb. instead of training the golden retriever. And you know what? Positive reinforcement goes a long way, we've learned in dog training.
Yeah. So I
And
do.
you're so positive.
I do apologize for saying you're so stupid, and I hope people who hear this know that this is not language we use like freely. I would not use this in front of our kids or anything like this, obviously. It's actually very specifically only used with you in the specific niche area of our relationship.
Because it is loaded for you.
And do you have any ideas why it might be loaded for me?
Your body, your choice.
Okay. Yes, I mean, I guess kind of that goes to the heart of it. But as a woman living in this world, have you ever heard of mansplaining?
Yeah.
We don't go through life, we don't walk one foot through life without men telling us how we should be, how, like, that they know better, that thing, you know, it's
You're right.
And when
it would
it's-
be like you commenting on like me growing my new beard, I guess.
but not really.
Like that would be off limits for you.
What? I'm so confused now. There's no parallel that you can draw.
Got it.
So anyway, to the person who mentioned period underwear, I do love them. I was traveling during this time, and this was my mistake. I didn't take them because I didn't want. First of all, I didn't think I really needed them. Lesson learned. But also, I didn't want to be like wringing out, like taking a backup pair and then having a wet pair of wringing out underwear
You would have had to bring them back if you weren't doing laundry while you were there.
in a pubic hair bathroom and, you know, all of that. It just, there was no laundry there. I would have been
Whoa.
Okay. No.
Never mind. That's a tangent, but I just fixed it in my brain anyways. Quick question about the period panties. So had you been wearing them that day, and is there a world where you would ever...
Oh, look, my boss Terry's calling me.
Okay, we're going
Let's
to pause
pause.
for Terry.
Okay, I'm back. I had to take a call from Terrence Coley, who offered to weigh in on this subject at hand for you, and you said, I think I've got it covered. So, anywho, let's move on from that. What I wanted to say, referencing last week's episode and talking about our body stuff.
Oh,
By the way, you know, we ended that podcast and then you and I had a further in-depth conversation, and you were so supportive. And I mean, I know that you were on the podcast as well, but like you just reiterated to me how your desire for me is just to feel at peace with my body and see it the way you see it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, realize that how I eat and all of that stuff, it seems from your viewpoint perfectly normal.
yep.
And to not carry this stress about it.
Yeah.
And I want that for me too. And my friend Michelle Leibel, who listened to this, she recommended listening to this podcast called Maintenance Phase that I've started listening to, and I can tell it's already kind of helping me unravel some of my shit. And, you know, it goes into stuff that I think we all know, which is like diets don't work, and like the history behind society's deeming bodies with more fat as, excuse me, less healthy when that's not true. You know, all of this stuff. It's really interesting. So I wanted to offer it. You know, I got lots of messages about that. Anyone who's also struggling with it, maybe can check that out. Maybe it will help them too.
Sweet.
So was there anything you wanted to talk about today?
Yeah, I had one idea that I was curious about because you had a fun thing happened where one of your best friends growing up, their daughter was at a dance class at your old dance
I'm
studio.
so glad you're bringing this up.
Well, this is what I'm thinking, because we didn't really talk about it, but you seemed very excited about it and a little bummed that I didn't kind of share in your joy and how crazy it is that she was at your old dance studio and this is where you spent so much time. And then as it turns out, the dance instructor is the same dance instructor and she remembers you.
Well, can we tell the whole story here?
Yes, but then there's something I want to do. So tell the story, and then
Okay.
there's something I want to do.
Okay, so this was wild. I was taking a day to just have a on the couch TV day. Mm-hmm. Haven't done much of that. Mm-mm. And I was watching Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls.
Okay. Brief summary.
Great docuseries. I've only watched a few episodes, but it's, I mean, actually very relevant to what I was just talking about.
I thought that's where we were going with this.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, what? No, I didn't. Sorry.
But it's about Lizzo finding her backup dancers and
That's
the
what I
fact
thought.
that, you know, most backup dancers are this, like, you know, thin, sinewy, muscly, and the dancer body ideal is something that's not necessarily that achievable. But Lizzo's specifically looking for bigger women who are also incredibly badass dancers. And here we are again, like, they're not one and the same, that just because a woman is fat, she can't dance. Mm-hmm. So this show's really inspiring and amazing. But I was watching it and I was thinking like, oh, I really do miss dancing.
Yeah.
You know, I tried that tap class and I really hope I'll get back to it somehow. I don't know how the fuck I can. But I love dancing, and it really makes me sad that I stopped. And I do think I stopped in many ways because I didn't have the dancer body. And so it was
When
just,
did you stop?
I stopped going to the classes that we're about to discuss my senior year of high school, but that was because I was captain of cheerleading and doing musical theater and was doing a lot of other things
A
that
lot
took
of
my time.
extracurriculars.
But then when I went to college, I thought that to dance in college, you had to be like, I'm going to become a professional ballerina now, or I never ever would have thought I just could have continued dancing.
My brother danced in college.
Did he?
Yeah.
Didn't you take a dance class in college?
No, acting classes.
Okay. I love that. Seeing Matt dance. So anyway, it's just something that was, and I know it was, I mean, so many things have been specifically tied to my body, like dancing, acting. Mm-hmm. I had an acting teacher once say to me, "You're a leading lady in this whole class." This was in my early 20s in West Hollywood. In this whole class, like you could be a star if you were thinner.
Whoa, for real? You've never told me that story.
I haven't?
No.
Yes.
That seems worthy of a Yelp review.
This class, you know, this is a real tangent.
These acting classes, ugh, right?
These acting classes, ugh.
They
And
can get...
all of my friends who like have taken these classes, I mean, I do think this is why I went into comedy, because I was like, this is a place I can be in my body, in my mind, with my weirdo shit, looking like a 40-year-old woman, whatever. But these acting classes are hopefully not this way much anymore. And nothing happened to me in that class. I mean, outside of that sort of thing, but like...
Which is terrible.
Which is terrible. But also terrible, by the way, to all the other women in that class. He said
It was
that,
in front of everybody?
yes.
These you hear these stories of these acting teachers wielding this gross
And by the way,
power. It's gross.
these acting teachers, and I don't mean to be rude, like, but they're people who aren't professionally working as actors.
Right. Yeah.
And across the board, I don't think most of them, especially in LA, were like, you know what, I'm really more cut out for teaching. I think they have a chip on their shoulder that they didn't make it, and they resent their students who they think might make it while they haven't. And in these classes, like I was doing scenes where I was like wearing like a camisole, and I was doing like, I think it was an Arthur Miller play that I was playing the Marilyn Monroe part or whatever. And it is fine. And you got to do what you got to do. But there's also things of like where they put you on stage in this class. He did this to a lot of students. And like, had you go to places that we should not be going to in an acting class. And I mean, there were people who realized they had been abused during this class, and it's all trauma fishing.
Yeah, it's gross.
And he's not prepared to support the people psychologically. It's all for the sake of like, go to this really fucked up place and open this can of worms for yourself for this art, which there's no support outside of it. And he's not the one who should be taking people to that place. Like really fucked up shit. And everyone, I think most people who have heard our other podcasts know that I did have a voiceover coach later who was grooming me and I mean, I don't even know if I can use the word assault legally, but he assaulted me. I mean, he came into a soundproof tiny booth with me naked and gyrated against me and was trying to take my pants off. So I think that counts.
Yeah.
Very scary moment. And so I know there was this other famous acting teacher who like they discovered had been grooming and molesting young actors. And, you know, it's just kind of ripe for that because the whole idea is like, get more uncomfortable. Like to really explore the depths, you have to get more uncomfortable. So anyway, sorry, that was a real tangent aside. Where was I? What was I
Let's go
talking
back to
about?
joy and dancing.
So joy and dancing, I wish I had stuck with it and I didn't. And also I wish I had stuck with acting, although I'm very happy with how things have worked out. And actually, maybe I'm cool with it all. But I felt it was watching this show. And at that moment, I mean, this is the universe at work. My best friend from childhood, Kendall, texted me a picture of her kid and said, like, does this look familiar? And it was the hallway of the dance studio at Patsy's Performing Arts in St. Louis that I spent 3 hours a night at. Like, I lived at this place, and so did my sister. And my mom was there a lot of the time. And to see, I mean, it's been updated and whatnot, but it's still, the hours I spent there was just so wild.
Yeah.
And cool. And so then I texted her and I texted my sister and it was like, oh my gosh. And then I'm looking up her text thread. She said, so she, meaning the owner, Andrea, wants you to come.
Not Patsy?
Patsius is her last name.
Oh, okay.
She wants you to come to the studio when you're here. She remembers you, your sister, your mom.
Oh my God.
And I said, oh my God. And then she said you could just call her so she can hear your voice.
Jesus.
She said she never forgets her students. Whoa. And then she sent a picture of her and she looks the same. I mean, as do I, the same but older. But I'm like, it makes me emotional.
Okay, this is what I want to do. I want to role play, okay?
Oh, God.
Okay, and I know I'm not the best at this, but I've been thinking, am I Andrea or you? I think you should be Andrea because you probably have a better memory of Andrea than I do because I never met her, and I'll be you. You're back in St. Louis for your reunion, okay?
You have to be
you
Andrea.
Have tears welling up
I
in your eyes.
can't do this. This is very like, I know we're about to role play, and I do want to say I'm glad that you brought this up because I kind of showed it to you and you kind of like didn't seem that interested in it.
Now I'm worried. Do you not want to role play this? Because it seems like I don't want to tarnish this for you.
No, but I do want you to be Andrea. I'm not going to be Andrea.
You want me to be Andrea?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a little backstory with Andrea.
Okay. wonderful, patient, kind woman, was a dancer all of her life,
Okay.
was like no nonsense. I mean, she had high expectations for us in the dance studio,
Okay.
but and she liked things a very specific way. I mean, when I went to my tap class recently, like my training in tap is very specific to Andrea's classes and very traditional tap. And ballet was very traditional ballet. Her daughter became a professional ballet dancer. And I think her daughter now teaches there.
Okay.
And so her husband, Ray, which I guess we'll get to in this role play, but
We will.
was such a kind, or is, I don't know, but from my experience, such a kind man, and he taught classical guitar. So there was a separate little studio
That's very sweet.
where he was doing, like Greenleaves type classical guitar.
Sure.
And they were just like, I mean, it's really cool. They were this artistic couple who found their little nook in the world. And I'm so glad she's still there and going. And it's kind of the same.
Yeah. Okay. I think I have enough to work with here.
I'm like shocked that she wants me to. I'm not shocked that she remembers us because we were there nonstop.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that she wasn't an overly sentimental person. What's so funny?
I feel like what we're about to do is really gonna backfire. I feel like maybe we should abort this because I think I'm coming at it from.
Are you going to be mean about it or something?
I just see how much this lady means to you, and I don't know if I'm gonna come at it from the right place, but we can try.
Okay.
Okay, should we do a call, or do you want to pretend that you're in town
Well, I'm
and you're
going to
popping
go.
by?
I am going to go.
Oh God,
I'm going there.
you're gonna go.
Yeah. I'm going to St. Louis in a month.
All right, let's practice. Let's practice then.
Okay.
Okay.
Andrea?
Yes. Hi. Can I help you?
She'll probably recognize me.
Like I did when I recognized you on the
Well,
street.
also because I think facially I look a lot like my mom.
Yes. Okay. This-
This is going to be... Maybe we shouldn't do this.
Let's try. Let's try.
Okay.
I mean, I'm so bad at this improv thing. I want to try though. Okay. What did she call you, by the way?
Elizabeth.
Okay. Oh my heavens, you must be Elizabeth Lame.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I saw Kendall and Kendall and her daughters. I see them all the time lately, and she mentioned you. It is so great to see you.
It's so great to see you.
Oh my goodness, and your sister. Well, Anna Marie, right? I'm
I am like crying.
So how are you doing, honey?
Well, right now I'm really emotional because it's so crazy being back here.
Are you still dancing?
How dare you, Andy? Of course you would ask if I'm still dancing. In my heart I am, but I'm,
What do you mean by that, honey?
well, I stopped dancing for reasons I won't go into right now. But I wish I were. Being back here makes me wish I were.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just check out this young deer. They're signing up for their class real quick. And then why don't you go meet me in the back studio? And I have an idea for us.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for being so patient. So I think when was the last time you danced?
A couple months ago, I took a tap class.
How did it go?
Not great.
Why not?
I had back surgery.
Oh, honey, I am so sorry. How did the class go, and how's your recovery been going?
The class went fine, but it was, I could tell wasn't great for my back. And the recovery's been fine, except I can't really do as much as I wish I could.
I see. Now, TAP might not be the best class. I'm thinking maybe, have you thought of something a little bit more low impact, maybe? Because I have an idea.
What's your idea?
I'm thinking, and I'm sure they got one of these out in Hollywood, but more of a strength kind of ballet type class where it's really smooth moves, but it would get you back in the studio, and I think that would be a great entrance back. Do you want to try a little bit with me right now, and we can see how it feels on your back?
Sure.
Okay. I bet you'll remember a lot of these moves.
Moves. Okay, show me these moves, Andrea.
Let's get you some slippers first.
Slippers. Okay.
You remember first position?
Yep.
Second?
Yes.
Third?
Got it.
Plie.
Oh my God.
A spin?
Okay, Andy.
Anyways, how do you feel about the idea? Maybe a ballet class could be an interesting thing.
I think that's a great idea. It could be like, do you remember that woman who would always take classes with us and she had tissue that she would tuck under her leotard?
How can I forget? Lisa was her name.
I used to look back on her and think, like, what is she doing? But now I get it.
You do? Because I don't understand why she had the tissue there.
No, the tissue was strange, but I admired that she, as in her 40s, was taking classes with a bunch of 13-year-olds and didn't blink an eye.
That is beautiful.
Do you remember my mom?
I do, and I'm really sorry to hear about your mom.
Oh, you heard.
Yeah, Kendall told me.
Okay. I wonder if Kendall did tell her.
You're going to find out. Let's jump out.
Okay.
Listen, I think that you're getting so emotional about this, which is so sweet to me. You really should find some sort of dance class that you like.
Yeah.
And side note, you know what this kind of reminds me of? Remember when I went through my little bit of like skating in the morning phase, skateboarding?
Yeah.
And I went to one morning, I went to this skate park, in not the nicest area. And there were like 4 teenagers there and myself. And, I'm the old guy there with his helmet on. And then it's all these like kind of rough and tumble teenagers there. And one of them smoking a joint.
Oh.
And it's 10 in the morning.
Oh.
Maybe 10:30.
Oh.
And he asked if I want a hit of the joint.
No way.
Yep. And I was like, no, I'm good. But no judgment for me not doing it. But we're sitting there and he brought up like some kind of chit chat with me, which was really nice. And like, do you come here a lot, or like, what are you up to, or something like that? And I said like, yeah, I haven't skated in years, but I've kind of been skating a little bit more. And he looked over at me and he said, hey man, it's really good to see you out here.
Oh my God.
And he was stoned, I know that. But it was a magical moment where this teenager was like, hey man, it's good to see you out here.
Yeah.
So maybe you need a
Hey man, it's good to see you.
good to see you out here.
I will say life feels so saturated with things we have to do, and I don't know. As you know, I took the kids up to our cabin this weekend, and it's like, by the way, I'm so aware of the privilege of us having this place and taking our kids there, but they don't fucking care. We did have a lot of fun and enjoyed each other's company a lot this weekend, which was awesome. But also, I just felt like I was fucking working the whole time, like getting into the cabin, and then I was cleaning the whole time, and then it's like keeping them occupied and getting their food, and it just, I feel like there's so little room for what I would
Me time?
not even just me time, like what's it called? It's not extracurriculars, but
Sort of is.
sort of like that, where it's something planned. So it's not me time where it's like, I'm just going to go fucking sit down and sit for a minute, or like normally, sadly, be like scrolling my phone or whatever.
Yeah.
But like a planned like classes. I feel like in my timeline of life, I had like, that's something that you do up until college. And then I feel like so much of that has fallen away, and I do want to like get back to dance classes, or take a quilting class, or take a French class, or take an art class, just classes basically.
It sounds like you need a class in your life.
I might need a class.
That sounds awesome.
And I also really like the idea of you and I taking a French class together.
Here's the problem. Okay. There is a big allure to me about the language thing. And here's a couple problems. One, I was a Spanish guy.
Not a problem.
Not a huge problem.
Actually, honestly, you understand the like fundamentals of like the masculine, feminine, a lot of Spanish and French. There's a lot of crossover.
Okay, that's great. I feel like I really hope that someday you and me live in Paris. I think that would be amazing. I think I know the way my brain works. And I don't know if I could retain or grasp onto it. But I would be open to trying, but I feel like it would be really hard for me. There's things, I think, is language and music similar? Are they
I think
linked?
so. I mean, I know math and music.
Math and music. So I don't think I have a typical music brain.
Right.
Where it kind of amazes me. There's like musical concepts and stuff like that I've never been able to grasp and retain. Like I just don't have that part of my brain.
I mean, can we speak to this? We're pretty sure that you're dyslexic. And right?
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
And
We had listeners that were like, Andy might be dyslexic. And you...
well, then when I did some reading about it, it was like, oh yeah, like I'm pretty sure, I mean, the test is expensive to get. And it's like, at this point in your life, what's it going to do for you? But I do think that you have like, a different style of learning. Your brain works slightly differently.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of dyslexic people are really, really skilled and talented at music, which is obviously the case with you. And so there might be something to that.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm down to do a class like that. But it seems like you need to do a dance class too.
Yeah.
And honestly, would there be something besides tap that you would like? Because honestly, I think the tap is maybe a little too high impact.
Well, I mean, saying ballet, I'm like, that might be a good place to start, like a beginner's ballet class. So
That'd be great for strength and stuff like that, right?
yeah, but it's just, there are things I just should not be doing anymore. Like the deep bending over is a lot of stuff, but hopefully I could just navigate that in the class. But this also speaks to me embarking on kind of a journey of self-acceptance, which is, I think for so many years, and I think honestly since college, like in college, I became a certified spin instructor.
I'm listening.
Johnny G.
Yeah.
And that is something like, it's really interesting because I held myself back in so many ways, but at the time, spinning had just been created by a man called Johnny G. He had patented the only spin bikes that existed.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
So to become an instructor, you had to like pay money to his company and go to like this instructor certification in Santa Monica.
I mean, yeah, this is a story as old as time.
For 2 days. It's a total
Yeah.
like make money situation. And I went, and it was me and then like all of these fitness people. It was me And I've pretty much looked the same. I mean, this should be telling to me. I've looked the same since I was 20, physically, pretty much, outside of, wrinkles and whatnot. But it was me, and then it was like 100 hard-bodied, like super, they were on the cutting edge of this fitness situation. And I didn't let it stop me. I still did it, and I got certified, and then this is one of 8,000 jobs I have held in my life. I was a spin instructor.
Yeah.
But in my mind, like, movement and exercise was punishing. It was just to burn calories and try to get the goal was to be smaller. And I lost the, sorry, laughing so hard once again has done that weird thing to me. I lost the desire to just move because it feels good to my body. And like dancing is so much more than just the physical to me. It's like very meditative and fun. And that totally, it was like that is no longer a priority.
Yeah.
Which makes me sad.
Yeah.
So I would like to get back to it.
I think you owe it to yourself.
Okay, switching gears, can we talk about, I think you and I are pretty much on the same page with parenting stuff a lot of the time. Twist this like this. Last night, I think I did something that you in your mind were like, oh my God, what are you doing as a parent? But
Tell me
didn't
more.
call me out on it.
Tell me more.
Which I appreciated. We were watching a show, and one of the characters said, like, that was so fucking cool.
Oh, God, that's so funny. Yeah.
And the fucking got bleeped out of it. And Otis said, why did that just happen? And you said, oh, he said a bad word that's not supposed to, that they can't say.
Yeah.
And I said, he said fucking.
Yeah.
And Otis said, why is fucking a bad word?
Which was so funny to me hearing him say it that way so
in his
earnestly.
little 6-year-old voice.
It's so funny.
And you said, but I saw a glimmer. When I said he said fucking, I saw you have a moment of like, what are you doing?
Well, I thought you might have opened up the can of fucking worms is what I thought. Because up till now, our parenting with cuss words has just been to not even acknowledge them. If they happen, if we say them, we don't acknowledge it. And it's kind of worked. Our kids have never said one. And we've just kind of pretended that they don't exist, even though we've been using them around them freely. Sort of.
Not like super freely.
Not super freely, but we don't, like, if
every
we
once in a
accidentally
while.
have a slip up, we don't call out the slip up, which has made it, they've never noticed that there's been a slip up.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I guess it's the sort of thing I should have talked to you about beforehand, but also, you got to parent in the moment. And I feel like they're of a certain age now, and we're like getting back out into the world where they're going to hear these things. And
Yeah.
so I thought in some cases, like it might be more confusing to them. In that case, I thought it would just lead to more questions. And then finally we'd be like, okay, there's fuck, shit, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, he said, but it was very funny and cute to hear him and his very cute 6-year-old saying, why is fucking a bad word? And then I forget exactly what I said, but I said something along the lines of like, well, for some people find it offensive, and you're not supposed to, there are just a few words that you can't say on TV. And so they bleep them out.
Yeah.
And I forget if I said like, we don't really care about them, but you can't say that at school or something because you might get in trouble.
Yeah. We said, make sure you don't say them at school.
So then this morning I was taking them to school.
Okay.
And Billie Eilish, which you took our kid to the concert recently,
Yeah.
is playing.
Yeah.
And there's a song where she's like, the word shit happens like 3 times in a very short succession.
Okay.
And Teddy is singing along full throttle. Like now she knows the words and she's like, treated me this shitty, you know.
Yeah.
And I stopped the music and I was like, remember last night we were talking about fucking?
Yeah.
Well, so shit is another bad word. And
Sort of. Don't you feel like in the last, since we've been a kid to now, can't you say shit on some TV?
no,
Well, like ass has definitely been come out of the.
no, shit is still very much in the
Okay.
bleep category.
Okay, go on.
And so I was like, shit is another bad word. There aren't that many. And I said, we at home, I don't really care about words that way. But, you know, you don't say it out at school or whatever. And then I said, there are words I do care about that we can't say because they're unkind.
Mm-hmm.
But those are very different to me than using these swear words in a way that's not hurting anyone.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just had a picturing them walking around being like, well, what's this shit? You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to see where you stand on that as a parent.
I
I
don't.
was flying by the seat of my pants.
No, I feel fine with all of that. I don't have a problem with any of those type of words. It's even when it came up last night, it's like hard to explain to them because we were watching Domino Masters where a thing of dominoes fell off and they bleeped a guy going, "Oh fuck," right? Where
I don't think that was the exact scenario.
what was the scenario?
I think he was saying like it was really fucking cool or it was really fucking, it wasn't,
Oh, was it like no fucking way?
yeah, something like that.
Okay. Well, okay, that's an even better. Okay, well, that's a better example of like, it's hard to explain to a kid that this guy just won something, and he said, "No fucking way!"
Yes.
Out of excitement, it's hard to explain that it is a bad word because it's like there's nothing bad about that context at all.
Well, it
it's
is
like a hard
so-
concept to explain.
It's also like, it's very arbitrary. Like, how have these 5 words now been deemed this? And I also will say, going back to like our original Nobody's Listening, right, where I like went off on right-wing Republicans and stuff. I feel like the people who find those words the most offensive, who are like, you cannot say fuck, are the same people who are like, women must wear dresses. And like the fact that they find that offensive, but they feel free to discriminate and spew racism and, you know, spread transphobic hate. Like, my whole thing is be kind. So we will have conversations with them eventually, like the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
None of us can ever use that word ever, no matter what. It's off limits to us. And I think the B word is off limits to you. And I mean, depending on how our kids identify as they grow up, I think, you know, there's specific words that are only accessible by.
Have you noticed that the B word, BI word?
Uh-huh.
Have you noticed that is? I'm hearing that word everywhere now. That it's so.
Well, it's.
Have you noticed that?
I have, and it's really interesting.
Like with younger people.
I really hated that word for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've kind of reclaimed it. I've been using it and I noticed it, like I used it at work a few times and I was like, what am I doing? But
like I to the extent that I almost think that like it won't be that bad of a word when they're in high school, like that they'll be saying it a lot to each other.
yeah, I think it is a word that is only accessible by those who identify as women and gay men. Like, I don't think it should be used. And I think that words are so powerful. I mean, obviously, no one right now can argue that words are not powerful when we're seeing what's happening with disinformation and propaganda and everything like that. But I want our kids to be conscientious how they use words. And to me, I'm much happier them using fuck and shit in their lives than saying unkind things to people or using words that are oppressive to groups they aren't of. you know?
Yeah.
I think we all can do a better job being more respectful of words, but this idea that there are these 5 bad words that if you avoid those, you're good is so archaic
Yeah.
and like base.
I mean, this is how my plan for this stuff is with our kids, especially. And as we get older and even more out of touch,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people in our generation that use the R word all the time.
Oh my God.
You know, which was much more acceptable when we were in high school and whatnot. But now I think it's horrible, and it's crazy to see people say it all the time. Anyways, side note.
Do you hear that? I don't hear that word anymore. I heard it once, and it was so notable to me from an older person. Remember I told you about it?
I've definitely noticed it, yeah. But it's always people our age. Like always.
Well, I've been in rooms before where that word's been used, and I then became the person who, like, you can't say that around her.
Right. But here's my plan for all of it. And you just made a good point of like people being like super defensive of it.
Yeah.
I will default, I'm going to say to our kids, once they get of the age where they're telling us what's like kosher
Yes.
and not kosher, I'm going to default to the kids. And guess what else? When I'm over 60 or whatnot, or let's say when our kids are in college and when they start becoming political and whatnot, you just tell me who to vote for, because every goddamn old person I know goes off the rails when they get old.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm just going to listen to my kids. I'm going to rely on them. Hopefully we raise them well enough that they can just tell me this is where history's going.
Yeah, it's their earth to inherit. I already know they have good hearts. I don't think, I mean, there is the risk, of course, if one of them gets like swept up in some sort of,
Okay, we'll have hopefully we'll have a good gauge. But you know what I mean? Like I see these old people that are like so like these 70-year-olds being so impassioned. And it's like, you're on your way out. Like you are so fucking clueless.
Yes.
Like
listen to the youth.
Listen to the youth.
It's their world that they're inheriting. So vote the way they would want it to happen, because you're right. Like you're heading to the door. I have a friend who recently discovered that their parent has been a secret Trump supporter this whole time.
Yeah.
And that devastation. And also, like, they kept it a secret.
Yeah.
It kind of slipped out.
Yeah.
Like, the topic, I think something to do with the January 6th, whatever came up relatively recently.
Yeah.
And there was some Fox News talking point that slipped out of the parents' mouth that they were like, what are you fucking saying? And it all came out. Just devastating. But yes, I think that's a really great rule of thumb. I mean, there are so many things, like there are all these movements, and like there's a revolutionary thing happening, I believe, to our concept of gender binary, sexuality binary, like all of these things tied to identity.
Yeah.
That we're going to need a lot of assistance in how to speak about them in a way that's not offensive, but like, yeah, anyway. Oh, to my point though, about, this idea of like, there are these specific words, if you avoid them, like, but if you use them, that makes you really bad for like whatever fucking arbitrary reason. You have a birthday coming up.
Yeah. Goddamn fucking right.
And I did go on Amazon, and I was just like, what's a fun, random little thing that Andy Rosen would want for his birthday?
Okay. Are you giving it to me right now?
No. I didn't get this. You're going to be shocked.
Oh, okay.
But I did search on Amazon, birthday gift for men,
Yeah.
and was horrified to see, like, one of the first things that came up was like a to-go mug type thing, to-go hot, cold thermos, drink, beverage bottle that has printed on it. And I'm not even going to say the word because I hate it so much, but it says no hablo. Oh, wait, no. Sorry. No hablo. Fuck TARDO.
Wait, fuck T?
ARDO.
No hablo that? Those 3 words? Sorry, no hablo F. I don't even get it.
Well, I think I've seen this also. I've seen this on, like, when you see, like, political discourse, and I've seen it from liberal people, too, where they'll call people a fuck TARD.
Oh, okay.
Which I find, like, so just, what a humiliation for humanity.
Well, here's the other weird...
Wait, I'm
yeah,
not finished
sorry,
with
okay.
this, sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm like, first of all, horrified that this is coming up when you search this. Like, it's not only offensive to Spanish speakers, like, all of it is offensive. You know, the people who are using this are not Spanish speakers. It's like embarrassing about that. It's embarrassing about the TARD of it. The whole thing is so humiliating. There are like thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. I've never seen so many 5-star reviews. I go to the reviews
Yeah.
because I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I've never seen a product on Amazon have across the board 5-star reviews. Like was it birthed out of some like internet thing that we're not privy to or something? Maybe, but then the reviews are all just glowing, and it's like, I gave this to my son for his birthday and he loves it, and you know, he wanted to take it to work, but his wife said maybe he shouldn't, and people just don't appreciate his hilarious sense of humor. You know, it's all about how hilarious it is. Everyone in it is congratulating themselves on this like really specific sense of humor that no one else gets.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, when I see that, and I'm like, this is what we're dealing with in America. This is, you know, 7,000 5-star reviews. People loved this so much that they needed to come pop a 5-star review.
Okay, but yeah.
Those are the people that exist out there. And if that many people went to leave the review, how many other people have this fucking thing?
Yeah.
That I'm like, it really, not to be Debbie Downer, but it really crystallized for me how hopeless we are as a society. And it makes me feel in some ways free.
Okay. I agree with everything that you're saying. Let me throw a little bit of a counter argument into this as well for you.
Oh, you'd love to do this.
I do. And this is actually something I've been thinking about. There's also the possibility
Oh boy.
that we are getting old, and that whatever this like little meme or sense of humor is, this like weird relevant thing for 20-year-olds, right?
No.
That like we find offensive in the same way of like there was stuff that we were saying in our 20s that our parents would be like, think is so offensive.
No.
Like,
I just want to stop you. That is not this.
okay.
There might be things like that.
Yeah.
But this feels very rooted in the Trumpy, crass, calling names, mean-spirited. You know, Trump is using the R word left and right in his private life. You know this. Like, you can just see it.
Sure.
And the no hablo, I think, also is of that Trump world.
No, it's offensive. It's super offensive.
And it wasn't 20-year-olds. It's like 70-year-olds buying this for their 50-year-old kids. Like it's not that, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. Crazy.
But in some ways it's freeing because it's also like when you put stuff out there, like we're doing with this podcast, I mean, we've gotten almost across the board just love back for it.
Yeah.
But also like you don't need to worry too much about what people think of you, because the people who think of you a certain way, you know, I used to put a lot of weight into if I saw someone being like, she's being too political or whatever. Those are people out there who have opinions, who are going to leave reviews for things and are like, maybe I should take this to work, you know? Anywho.
Huh.
We did it.
Yeah.
Well, this, I believe, is dropping on your day after your birthday.
Hey,
So if anyone wants to go leave Andy some birthday love, his Instagram is at Dr. Rosen.
yeah. So yeah, this will come out Wednesday. You could also pop by T-Bash Live tonight, right now at 9 p.m. PST. Wish me a happy birthday there, live.
Oh, that's really fun.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, cool.
All right. Good night.
Good night.